Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Piece of Insight, where you can find insightful discussions about life, relationships, self-empowerment, self-value, and if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. And also, if you want to read the blog on this topic, the link to my website is in the description box below. Alright, so let's get started. So this week's topic is on being mindful about yourself and why that's important. And in one of my other videos, I did already talk about what mindful is, and I'm going to be talking about being mindful through a lot of my vlogs because being mindful is so important in life, and it can really help you through a lot of things. It can remind you to be grateful about who you are as a person. So this week's topic, let's jump into it. Alright, so being mindful about who you are as a person. So that can be qualities that you have, that can be anything from great experiences that you've had in your life. Being mindful about who you are as an individual is super important because you never want to forget who you are as a person. And there's a lot of times in life where you're just going to be super down on yourself. Things aren't going to go your way. And being able to remind yourself who you are as an individual can really save you in tough times. And this is your qualities, like I said, experiences. Speaking of being mindful, I will leave the card up here somewhere to my video when I was talking about being mindful. So a quick comparison of what being mindful is. It's red light, green light, yellow light. So for most of us who are drivers, when we see the green light, we go. When we see the red light, we stop. Right? Well, most of us. So when you're being mindful of that, you know it's green, you know when you can go. And that's an example of being mindful. And we have so many different examples of life of when we are mindful, just like the red light, green light, yellow light. But we have to implement that in our self-love and self-mindfulness. We have to become aware just like that when it comes to appreciating ourselves. You always want to surround yourself with people who love you, not people who are going to tear you down, not people who are going to be negative, because the people who you're around are small reminders of who you are as a person. A lot of people say you are who you're around. Right? So you want to surround yourself with people who appreciate you, because then those are small reminders for yourself. Now, here's the kicker. You can have people in your life appreciate you so much, they can talk you up, pep you up with all these great words about who you are as a person. But at the end of the day, if you don't appreciate yourself and the ways that they're telling you, what they tell you won't really matter. And that it is essentially, it's really sad, because you can have someone tell you you're beautiful, you're handsome, you're amazing all day long, but if you don't believe it yourself, then what they're saying doesn't really matter. It matters, but to a certain extent. So that's why when it comes to appreciating yourself and being mindful of who you are as a person, it's so important, and it's so vital to you living, and it's so vital to you having friendships and relationships, and especially when things don't always pan out the way that you want them to. So 2 words, mindful and remind. Mindful and remind have the word mind in it. So in order for you to remind yourself of the qualities that you carry as a person, and in order for you to be mindful, it goes back to mind. it goes back to your mind, and it goes back to training your mind to see the good qualities that you have as a person. And there's going to be so many different situations and so many different times in life where you're just going to be so down and out. You're just going to feel maybe not loved, not appreciated, and you have to be able to pick yourself up by reminding yourself and being mindful of who you are as a person. Being able to be mindful about who you are as a person, it's just kind of just pondering upon it. You know, no matter where you are or what you're doing, you should always kind of give yourself a reminder every day or every other day, like, I'm pretty awesome, you know? And you don't have to say it out loud. I mean, if you say it out loud and it makes you feel better, that's great. But if you're someone who is just more inside your mind a lot, you know, ponder in your mind every day or every other day, like, who you are, just the qualities about who you are as a person. Because the more that you train your mind to see these awesome qualities that you have and how you are as a person, the easier and more natural it becomes every single day. And that being mindful about who you are as a person and being confident, those two things are tied together. So people constantly ask, how can you be confident? How can I be more confident? It's tied to being mindful of who you are as a person. There's no way that you can be confident if you don't appreciate your qualities first. Everything is in steps. So you want to be able to appreciate yourself, and you want to be able to value yourself at the end of the day. There's going to be so many different times where people who are going to make you feel like you're this big and you're not that big. You're infinity and beyond, just like Buzz. You know, you don't want these people to make you feel like you're that big. And you have to, it's really all in your head. You know, there's so many thoughts that go in our head every single day. We don't give our head enough thoughts about who we are as a person. We don't give ourselves enough credit. You know, we really don't. And it's a human flaw. But if you can train yourself to not be that way, then you are going to feel so much better about yourself, because you're not going to depend on your friends and family and significant other to make you feel good, because you're making yourself feel good, because you're mindful about who you are as a person and the qualities that you have. Being mindful keeps you aware. And when you're aware, you can acknowledge. And when you can acknowledge, then you can be able to lift yourself up. If you don't have awareness whenever you're, you know, thinking negatively about yourself, and, you know, there's little thoughts in your head that's going on, if you're not aware of that, how can you stop it, right? So that's why being aware, and that's why being mindful is so important. No one is perfect, but there's so many great things that we all have. There's so many great qualities that we all carry over. And you have to remind yourself of those qualities, because there's going to be many times that you are going to have a voice in your head that is talking when you're looking in the mirror, or whenever you're trying to go on a date with someone, or being in a relationship. You know, we're constantly thinking that we aren't good enough, and you have to stop it. You know, just like a snap, you know, it has to be quick, because if you don't stop it and if you aren't aware, then those thoughts are going to carry on, and it's just going to get worse and worse. Then depression comes, anxiety, sadness, and all those things that we don't like to feel. So being mindful of your great qualities is so important, and it's so crucial. A couple of ways that I mentioned in my other video of being mindful is anytime that you did something great, anything that you accomplished, write them down in your phone. You know, write it down in a notebook. And when you write things down, it becomes more real. The more that you remind yourself, the more real and the more that it'll stick. Like that. And it won't be able to detach, because in your head, it's already there. never forget those good qualities that you have as an individual. It's so important for you to constantly remind yourself. It takes the same amount of effort to remind yourself of all the bad things or things that you're not good at than compared to reminding yourself of the good things that you're good at, and all the great ways that you make people happy. So it really takes the same amount of energy. So that is it for today, Wisdom Wednesday. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to give you guys some type of insight on why being mindful about yourself is really important. And after subscribing, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Always stay empowered. Bye.